Hey guys, 57 Guy come back to you with another video, and this is going to be kind of a two-parter, but I'm going to try to make it a little bit quick, so we'll get right down to the nitty-gritty. The first part is going to be the battle box giveaway I'm doing, and the second part is going to be what's sitting on the table in front of you. So let's get to the battle box. So everybody that gave me a PM, and I really greatly appreciate you guys doing that, everybody was over, so nobody won the giveaway. So I'm going to give it another week, and this time whoever's closest, whether you're over the weight limit or under the weight limit, will win this time. I do apologize, but nobody won. I've never seen that happen before. So we got till next Thursday, and I'll announce on Friday. I'll check all the weights on Thursday, and on Friday I'll go ahead and announce. So that's going to be the deal. So next Thursday, have your entries in by next Thursday. I can't stress that enough. Anyways, okay, so let's get to what's in front of us here. So what's in front of us? Well, the question that I've heard a lot of people ask me, and I've had people come to me with some surplus rifles and ask me, should I sporterize? And there's a lot of, I've seen on forums, I've heard people say this a lot, should I sporterize a gun? Now there's people that say you shouldn't sporterize a gun because it takes away from the inherent value of it, or it takes away the historical value of it. And I can see their viewpoint, and then I've heard of some people going, well, why not? You can actually turn a historical rifle into a really badass rifle. So, and there's many other topics that people say and go over versus the why or the why not. But I'm going to have to say I'm in the middle of the road on this one. I appreciate the historical value of a firearm, and I also see the other side of actually sporterizing a rifle. For instance, this one. Now, this rifle was a Mosin Upgrades. I picked it up at a gun store for 80 bucks, and the reason why I sporterized this rifle was not because it's a Mosin Upgrades, but because when I bought it, the guy who had sold it to the gun shop had tried to sporterize it and failed. I mean, epic fail on trying to sporterize this rifle. I feel bad for the rifle, really, to be quite honest. It was in shambles. Is all I can say. So I sporterized the gun. Now, this is probably a little bit more in depth than a lot of people might do. This is stuff that I like to do, and it keeps me out of trouble. So let's get right into it. So the first thing about it that a lot of people have noticed is the stock. This is an Archangel stock. There have been a lot of people that I've seen on forums talking about how much they don't like the stock because of the magazine. The magazine can be difficult. Mine was quite difficult. I actually had to file down the back of the magazine. As you can see, it has this interesting, almost like an AK kind of clip going on there. And I had to file inside the mag well to get the magazine to fit. So there we go. But now that I filed it down and did a little bit of work, and the stock is awesome. It's a very nice rigid stock. It's pretty heavy actually, considering it's a polymer stock. Other than that, I don't have any other cons to the stock other than it could be a little lighter, and they could have done some fit and finish issues, fix the fit and finish issues with the magazine. Other than that, the stock is awesome. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me about this rail, and this is just the bee's knees of rails. It's a Rock Solid Industries rail, and it is a beast, like I said. I mean, they did this right, in my opinion. Everything about this rail is rigid and strong, and the way they designed it to attach to the Mosin, all I can say is wow. The guys that engineered this did a really good job, so thumbs up, man. They did a really good job. Now, if you do go ahead and buy this rail, I will suggest that unless you have experience putting a rail or doing some machine work, that you take it to your local gunsmith or local gun shop, maybe that has a gunsmith, to do this, because it can be fairly tricky. For instance, they actually tell you that you may have to do some machining to the rail itself, because not all Mosins were made exactly the same. So that being said, you know, you have to drill and tap your receiver and making sure that everything with the receiver is okay. You don't hurt anything or crack anything or go into the chamber, which can be pretty tricky if you don't know what you're doing. Also, the machining of the block for the rear sight saddle. Other than that, I mean, the rail is just right on par. Now, I had to do a lot of machining to this just to get it to line up parallel with the barrel, because the rear sight saddle kind of sat off like this to the barrel, and I had to do some machining to where it matched up. And as you could see, I did cut the barrel down. It is now a 22-inch barrel, and also I did some work to the bolt. Now, this is an ATI bolt handle. Now, you can buy a whole bunch. They got all kinds. You can actually buy a bolt, a whole bolt assembly. Now, with this rail system, I probably should have bought another bolt, but I didn't. And what I ended up doing, you can see there's a slight hole here, and that's because the ATI bolt system makes it to where you cut your bolt, the original bolt handle off, and you want to leave a little nub because it fits inside this hole in the bottom of the bolt handle from ATI. Drill and tap, and bada bing, you got a bolt handle like this. Now, what I did was totally opposite from that, and I had to do some machine work to get it, and I ended up machining into that hole, which was actually kind of beneficial because it helped me weld the bolt handle through this hole to the bolt and make it more secure. What I ended up doing was I cut it flush, like I said, and made sure I had a good polished surface, drilled and tapped like I was supposed to. Once I got it perfect and aligned perfect with the bolt, I went ahead and welded all the way around it. Now, at that time, I already had the rail installed, and that's when I found that I could not open the bolt because the bolt handle section here was too tall. So I ended up having to take my Dremel and grind it down, which when I got this hole, I decided, man, I guess I can weld in there and get the inside, and that's what I ended up doing. But as you can see, I made sure that it was real tight. I mean, very, very tight. If you can see how close it is, it's very, very close. But so, I mean, it's just a perfect fit. So when you go and get a bolt handle, make sure that you don't do exactly what I did necessarily, although I like experimenting and doing stuff kind of off the wall. Now, the scope is not a name brand scope. It's not a Zeiss or anything like that. I mean, it's an $80 gun, right? I'm not going to put too good a glass on it. And this is actually a Firefield. Now, I actually have a friend that has a Firefield, and he hated it. Said the glass was terrible, ended up getting a new scope. I haven't had a problem with this gun, or rather this scope. This scope has done extremely well for me. I sighted it at 300 yards, it shot just fine. 600 yards, it shot just fine. Didn't lose zero. Very happy with this optic. For the price, I might add. Now, getting a cheaper optic like this comes and goes. And I may put a different optic on it. It just, who knows. Now, I always go all out with my bipods. It's a Harris bipod. You gotta have a Harris. That's just my opinion. I did some machine work to the bolt, or rather to the trigger, and it made it a lot smoother. When I first got the gun, the trigger was real gritty, and I just polished it up. I didn't put a Geisley, or I think Timney makes a trigger that goes into a Mosin, but I can't remember exactly. And the scope mount is just an Amazon scope mount. It's just an Amazon cantilever scope mount that I found for like 10-15 bucks. It did the job. It's rigid. It's a good scope mount rather. Now, the paint that I'm using is a Duracoat paint, and it's kind of hard to see the pattern that I got going on here. And it has some bumps and bruises, but I have kind of a snakeskin pattern going on. I guess the mag wheel is real easy to see it. But I probably have about $400 to $500 into an $80 gun. So and that's another issue people have. Why are you going to spend a lot of money on an $80 gun? Well, this is the result. There's a long range competition. I'm actually going to enter with this gun and see what happens. It's coming up here locally for me, and we'll see how I do. If it does very well, it may actually end up being my new hunting rifle and all-around tactical long-range gun. That being said, you know, I'd really would rather prefer to have a Remington 700, an SPS, or something of that type. But you know what? For the money I put into this, and from what I've found so far, this gun drives tacks all day, every day, and I can't praise it enough. I could probably get better glass, that's true, but this is what we have. So, anyways, let me know what you think about this. Let me know your opinion on sporterizing or not sporterizing, and so on and so forth. I want to hear you guys' input, and tell me what you think of the rifle. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. Please leave your comments in the section below. Like, subscribe, and remember, you know, for the Battle Box giveaway stuff, you have to be a subscriber to enter. So please, subscribers, enter. And like I said, the closest one to the actual weight this time, not below or above. It doesn't matter either or. The closest one will win. And I will announce that on Friday. That way, Saturday I can have it out to you. Alright. Anyways, guys, thanks. Like I said before, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good day.